No, it's not much to admit, but yeah, I haven't quite hit the break-even mark. I'm around 4,000 off, you know, if I'm going to be completely truthful. It's about 4,000 loss. I didn't think I was going to stick at it to begin with because it just seemed a big old mess. And then the more I got into it, the more I developed, the more I was like, okay, I can make something out of this. So then I've only got 1% risk on the table again, and then my target would be the exact same. So now in theory, I'm in 2% worth of positions with only 1% risk on the table.
Hello and welcome back to another Alpha Capital Group Traders interview where you're joined by me, William, in the Alpha Capital Group headquarters here in Newcastle. Today I am joined by a trader who's on the edge to profitability, well on his journey. There's a few things holding him back, but despite that, he still managed to secure thousands of dollars in payouts. However, making thousands of dollars in payouts, does that make you profitable? Today we are going to find that out. So trader, who are you and where are you from?
Dom, and I'm from Bristol.
Nice to meet you, Dom. Thank you for joining me today. So how long have you been trading?
So it'll be 2 years this year. It's been a long journey, I must say. I didn't think I was going to stick at it to begin with because it just seemed a big old mess. And then the more I got into it, the more I developed, the more I was like, okay, I can make something out of this. But yeah, I mean, you know, the 2 years have felt short. I think everyone thinks 2 years is a long time, but in this industry, it's a very short amount.
It flies. It definitely flies. So, Dom, if you wouldn't mind just explaining for everyone, whereabouts are you on your trading journey?
So I think I'm teetering on the edge of this profitability thing. So I've had a few payouts here and there. I've got things holding me back, which I know about, which I need to fix myself. So I'm an awful revenge trader. I get into a gambling mindset of quick money fast, which I think this industry is built around anyway. This get rich quick scheme.
Yeah.
You know, gurus and all of that, thousands and thousands of pounds, McLaren this, McLaren. And in reality, it's not the norm, you know?
Yeah.
The norm is struggling for years, for the most part, working a job on the side, you know, and scraping by to get to that profitability stage, which I think that's what I'm to now of. I've got a job, you know, I'm trading as well, and just trying to just juggle everything. It's hard work, you know?
And so, talking about payouts, Dom, how much you actually receive from Alpha Capital Group? What's that number look like?
So it's about 8,000 roughly across 2 payouts.
So, including account purchases and your actual payouts, would you say you are profitable yet? Have you made that money what you spent?
No, it's not much to admit, but yeah, I haven't quite hit the break-even mark. I'm around 4,000 off, you know, if I'm going to be completely truthful. It's about 4,000 loss if I compare account for to what I've received. Mainly because of this mindset of chasing losses and stuff, you know. Breaching accounts to daily drawdown, you know. It's stupid to do, but I think every trader does it because they're trying to pass fast. They want to get to that funded stage where, you know.
So, tell us a little bit more about the struggles you're facing. Then, like, what you say, you've got the gambler's mindset. So, what does that mean?
Okay, so realistically, if I'm coming into the market, you know, I set up my levels and all of that in warnings. Set my alerts. I go about my day. The alert goes off. I enter the trade. Right now, overall, I like my fundamentals. I like my technical analysis. Now, I get very frustrated if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So when I'm wrong and I see stop loss taken, then it starts to move in my favor and straight back in. I don't need entry model. It's just I'm getting back in and then another loss. And then I shouldn't have taken that trade. And then you end up in that cycle of,
Yeah.
I've taken multiple losses, but I should have only taken that one. I need to make back that money, which, you know, I think is very relatable to a lot of people there. I think a lot of people get that chase mindset in them of, I've got to make it back, and not just sitting back. I can come back tomorrow.
Would you say it's more of a, you are so against being wrong in the market that you just will go until you are right?
I don't think you're far off there, no. I think I'm very stubborn, you know. There was 1 month where I pretty much didn't win the whole month because I was being so stubborn with the double being bullish, you know, and I was trying to sell the whole way up on GU, and I was just wrong the whole pump. And you know, it affected me massively psychology-wise. You know, I blew a few accounts there because I was so angry at myself. I said, you know, he looked at the charts the month after and I was like, what was I doing? But
Yeah.
at the time, you get so involved in, you know, tunnel vision of this is right, this is right. And then, you know, breaches your counts happen, you end up on your ass.
So would you say it's more the psychology side of things other than the strategy side of things that is really catching you out here?
Yeah, so the strategy side of things, you know, I've done my fair share of back testing. I'm not a huge fan of it anymore because I found the forward testing, emotions, everything like that, right? I never went on to a demo account when I started. So I kind of just started straight on funded accounts like challenges and all of that. So from the beginning, I was learning the hard way. And I think that's why I'd incurred more losses over my time than some other people would have done.
Definitely.
And yeah, strategy-wise, I'm constantly tweaking it. I try and keep it very simple. I try and looking at it from where institutions and investors are putting their money into and the times that they are, because I want to be on that side at the end of the day.
I agree with that. Trade more institutional levels and stuff like that definitely works well. So how did you actually learn that strategy? Because that's a pretty in-depth strategy.
So I started off with an Ali Khan course that I got off of a friend, and I watched it twice, and I took out bits that I enjoyed, and I was like, let's put it to work on the charts. So we went and back tested it, found certain systems that worked for me, and then I built myself a playbook. So I got 5 different systems that I can play around with. Okay, the one that I'm using now is primarily time-based manipulations, and then I'm trying to find institutional hedging within the markets. Because if we take, say there's a draw on liquidity here, the high, and there's a draw on liquidity here and a low. If we say that the institutions want to go to these levels, they need to put orders into the markets. So by then doing that, they need to fill orders. So then I'm looking for a block that they've sold to buy. Once we're into that, once I see that failed block, I can then say that they've hedged successfully, and then they can continue the move to the opposite way.
Amazing. So can we actually see this on the charts?
I can show you now, yeah, if you would like.
Let's go through it.
So I'll just show you the trade that I actually took today, which was this one here. Now, this is my new system. I'm not going to go into the higher time frame levels just because I want to keep something a little bit hush. But yeah, so overall, coming into the day, I didn't have a bias. I tend not to trade bias because, like I've said to you previously, I'm a stubborn trader. If I get a bias in my head, I won't look at anything else. Okay, so came into the market this morning. I marked up my level here, and there was another level here. Okay, so then what I'm looking at is if I'm seeing price coming up towards my point of interest, I'm then scaling down the time frame. Now on Euro, I trade 1 minute to 3 minute time frame. So I was on the 1 minute this morning, and I saw that there was a level here. So if I just move this down here to what I actually had on my chart, I seen this drive up higher. Okay. Now on this, I see that there's momentum within here. I think you can see it on the 3 minute. Yep. So on the 3 minute here, you see how there's momentum here with a gap being formed. Now, if I was talking about institutional hedging, I'd be looking for opposing positions before the drive as they're filling orders here. So they're selling to be able to buy to drive price into this level over here. Okay. So what most people would see this as is a supply and demand level. Now, if this was in a hold as demand, we'd expect the run here and then we spike up higher. So on the failure of this and the closure below these lows, I set a limit here. My stop loss was above this, and I was targeting this level down here. And I've got a strict criteria for my challenge accounts. So my challenge accounts is when I get a 1-to-1, I hat my stop loss, and my stop loss then comes to 3.5 pips. At 1-to-2, I then break even the trade, so I'm all risk off, and then I allow the rest to run the TP. Now on a funded account, I have a stricter regime. So at a 1-to-1, I instantly break even my trade because I'm very risk adverse.
Yeah.
When it's funded, I want to, you know, keep as much risk as I can off the table as soon as I can. If I'm correct, I don't want to be taking a loss. Whereas on a challenge, you can be a little bit more free with it, you know?
Definitely.
So, and it's the same with, I use 1% risk for every trade on the challenge account. I will scale in, but if I scale in, it's very strict. So if we take today, for example, there was actually a perfect scaling level, which I actually marked out. So like I said, the 3 minute was the highest point. And then the secondary point for me would have been this 5 minute here. You see how this move up originated from this block?
Mm.
So I would have marked this out here. And then at this point, at the break-even point, this original position, my stop loss would be a break-even. So now I can use that 1% initial risk from this, because I've not got any risk on the table, for this second entry here. So then the trade would look something along the lines of this. So it would go here. Stop loss would go, say, 5.5 pips. So then I've only got 1% risk on the table again. And then my target would be the exact same. So now in theory, I'm in 2% worth of positions with only 1% risk on the table.
Wow.
Okay.
Perfect. So, Dom, I am interested in the fact that you don't check for bias. Now, I understand that you're a stubborn guy, but sometimes this can work in your favor. Because if you figure out the bias correctly and you can figure out the direction, surely you're going to go in the correct direction. And if you're stubborn, you're not going to go the other way at all. So, is this not something you've ever thought about and maybe want to try?
Yeah, so funnily enough, so I've gotten very deep into fundamentals recently. Okay, I'm very big on the major releases, CPI, interest rates, and stuff like that. Now, when I'm looking at the fundamentals, I can get the overall direction, I suppose, those investors' mindsets. You know, if you track the dollar, you know, the inflation at the moment in the US is very higgledy-piggledy. It's down, it's up, it's down, it's up. Now, Powell stated 2% is his target, and they're not going to cut rates too early. So with that in your mind, investors want the highest return on investment. So they're going to be keeping their money where they're getting a good return. So with that being said, I'm looking at dollar being strong up until we see deflationary measures coming in the US. Okay, when that starts to happen, we can then start to think, okay, maybe the Fed policies are going to start changing. When that happens, I'm going to probably change my idea on bullish dollar to potentially we're going to be seeing movement of money from the dollar to the pound or the dollar to euro, you know. And when I'm watching this happening, I can get a good, you know, sense of strength of one asset to another.
No, I find that really interesting. So you say you trade a lot of fundamentals. Do you find fundamentals are more important than your technical analysis, or do you prioritize both 50-50?
Yeah, so there's this big saying within the community of fundamentals are used to drive price where it wants to go faster. Now, I'm not a believer of that at all. You know, I think if there's a high here and there's a low here, you know, people say it's going to go to that high no matter what, and then the fundamental just flies up like NFP. You know, you can't tell me that NFP is the reason that we've gone. You know, that's the reason we've gone there. It's not. That was where it was going to go before. And then also it's a case of on the initial release, the market's always going to react to the number. Okay, if NFP comes out good, the market's going to go in that direction. And then you see the secondary move of what it actually means to that economy. You know, so yeah, while I use it, I don't trade news releases. Okay, that's just not my style. No point putting the risk on the table because I can't guess or predict what the state is that's going to come out in. So there's no point in gambling for that. But if I am in a swing position, okay, which I had on gold for a little bit, you know, like I said, I track the markets, I track the economies. I'm trying to follow it the best I can. I can gauge that direction. I can go for a few days and hold it through interest rates, inflations, because I'm expecting one way or the other.
Amazing. So you're quite clearly an intelligent and clued up on all your strategy and trading knowledge in general. So it's no surprise why you've hit these payouts and managed to secure these thousands of dollars in payouts with us. However, one thing that is holding you back is your psychology. So what is your plans for the future to change these little hurdles you're facing?
So I think my biggest issue right now is the discipline side of things. Okay, I start off by being very disciplined, and then I take a loss or I take a break even, and I don't accept it. Okay, now, you know, I think I was speaking to a friend the other day that's very into gym, eating properly, and all of that. Now I let myself slide a little bit because I've got so much going on. Now I think that even these small goals every single day can help build that discipline. You know,
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
10-minute walk in the morning or making sure you lift weights at night. You know, that's discipline to make sure you show up every single day. It's all well and good me showing up to the markets every single day, which is easy. You know, I just wake up, phone on, I'm on the market. Whereas actually going out and doing something that you don't really want to do sets that boundary of discipline. So yeah, I think that will help me. And then also just cleaner eating as well, is these things that aren't related to the charts can have a big impact on your overall psychology of things. Because you start building it into yourself, you
Yeah.
naturally become a more disciplined person.
Well, like you said there, Dom, getting access to the markets is really easy.
Yeah.
Now, that is a good and a bad thing because, yes, it's easy to get on the markets every day. But for example, in your situation, that's not always a good thing because now we're trading when we don't need to be trading. We're taking positions that we shouldn't be taking and we're losing money. Okay. So I want to give you a little bit of advice that I took on when I started trading. And it simply comes down to, the basic rules, taking one trade a day, not over risking, not over trading, and following your rules plan by plan. So, starting off for you every day, you can get your notebook out and just write down a list of what you are going to do and what you're not going to do, and then write down your trading plan word for word. Writing it down actually puts it into your brain a lot better, and especially when you speak it out loud, because you understand then what your rules are every single day and you're embedding them into your brain so you're not making these stupid mistakes.
No, it makes sense. It does make perfect sense that. And I was gonna actually lead with one of the points here with the deviation of them plans is like it's so detrimental to them downfalls.
Yeah.
Like I said to you, I set my stop loss. I'm wrong. I then chase. I've broken my rules by chasing.
Mm.
And that's the downfall because then you're like, I should have taken that second entry. Should have taken the third entry.
Yeah.
There's a downhill spiral, and I don't think it's spoken about enough because I don't know if you'd agree with me. This industry is so built on success that this conversation right now is not tapped into enough. Of
No, exactly.
90% of people are probably teetering on the edge of I want to quit, I can't do this, so on and so forth. Whereas all they're seeing on social media is Lamborghinis, Ferraris, buy this, buy that, and it's like it's not the reality for most people.
And this is exactly what I told you, Dom, because I asked you to come on this interview for this reason.
Yeah.
And you actually told me, you said, I'm not ready to give advice. And I said, that is exactly where you're wrong, Dom, because a lot of people are in your position. More people are in your position than they are with Lamborghinis and watches and everything like that. That comes at the end. Now, we have many of those successful traders here at Alpha, and I could be sat here interviewing them all day, but that's not all I'm trying to do here. I want people to understand that there is a lot of people in everyone's position. Now, if you can help another trader out there today, we're doing a good job. But more to the point, people will be able to help you, Dom. People are going to see this video and they're going to leave you some advice. Now, for anyone watching this who feels like they could help Dom out and leave him some advice, make sure you drop a comment below, because I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
Yeah. It would. The thing is like the thing with Alpha as well. The sense of community that we get from the Discord is good. There's always someone talking on there. There's people sharing trade ideas. There's people throwing fundamental analysis out there and technical analysis out there. Now, the bonus of Alpha is the moderators are very friendly as such. They keep it all clean. So if they see an argument, they stop the argument. How it should be, but there's no reason to argue, okay? Because the way that I see the market might not be the way that you see the market, which is completely fine. Now, the issue now is everyone argues that strategy is the only strategy that works, and I'm wrong, you're wrong. Where it shouldn't be like that. It should be a case of this is my idea, that's your idea. Explain to me why. Now, from that, I'm now learning something from you. I then say to you, well, I don't see it from that point of view. I see it from my point of view. Now, it can be very counterintuitive if you allow it to, because you might be starting to take my ideas on, see your idea, and go, "Oh no, because he said that." But that's not the point. The point is to be more open to accepting advice, because I think most of us traders came into this thinking we're going to make it, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We've built the system, or we've learned the system, and we're very stubborn to anyone else's ideas because in our eyes they're wrong. And I think, yeah, I've learned a fair amount off of certain people in Alpha, just from off the Discord conversations as well. Because you fly into DMs and you start to chat about something that you didn't really know about or something they didn't know about. So yeah, I mean, the sense of community is a big help, and I think the more people you can have around you that have got the same mindset is going to really drive you forwards to.
No, 100%. I know you said you've got a job, you're working at the same time while you're trading. What job do you do outside of trading?
So I did work in a pressure washer manufacturer. Okay, so very grueling, long days, hard work, and you got to just escape to use your phone when you can. Which is why I've kind of built this system not on a scalping method. Like the trade I showed you earlier, it was a good 2 hours worth of trade. But once I was in it, I could set alerts
Yeah.
and shut my phone then. So yeah, I think a lot of people probably struggle with this thing of how can I trade and work? How can I trade and work? And
Definitely.
if you want to make it work, you'll make it work. You build a system around your situation.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I say that all the time because that is a big question I get as well on social media. We get asked that a lot. So what did trading look like for you right at the start? People around you, your friends, your family, what were they telling you when you said you wanted to be a trader?
So I didn't tell anyone to begin with at all because I watched a video. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. They'll just talk you down. Talk you down. So I was like, all right. So my partner, my girlfriend at the time, she knew I used her laptop because I didn't have a laptop. I was living at her parents' house. And yeah, I mean, it started off with institutional candlestick patterns. I started getting into that. I got into supply and demand, and then I told my parents. My dad was very against it. It's a scam. You're gonna get conned out of all this money and blah, blah, blah. And when I tried to explain prop firms, that was like a massive argument of no, it don't make any sense. The business model's but
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean that was difficult, and I think a lot of people do see this as gambling because there's no predictability, which is where the edge comes into it of data backed. I got this percentage for this RR. You can show someone that and say gambling doesn't give me this. So yeah, I mean, my mum's quite supportive. My girlfriend's definitely supportive. But apart from that, like friends and family, friends and other family, sorry, should I say, I've kind of kept them away from it all, in all honesty, because
No, it's the best decision at the start.
yeah, and I think even now, like when if you want to talk to friends about it, they haven't got that same mindset of you have. I have this thing of working is fine, but I want to create a life for myself that I don't have that financial time constraint, and for me, that's more important than anything else is that time aspect of waking up when you want, go to sleep when you want, eating when you want, and being able to enjoy life for what it's supposed to be. Whereas a lot of people will get into it for the money. I think for me, it's more about the time side of things, of being able to enjoy time with family more, enjoy time with my girlfriend more. And obviously, money will bring that, but then this is the chase that you get into of, I'm seeing people on 5K accounts getting slandered for it, and it's like, well, their situations. About it sounds in the UK, I might need more money than someone from Nigeria or something.
Yeah.
And it's completely relative. I've seen people blow accounts because they're going for 1,500 payouts on the 5K account, and it's like, you don't need that much money. 8% withdrawal, build up. And yeah, I mean, this is why I've had this, I suppose you could say on the smaller side of a payout on a 100K account, 6.3%. It's not huge. It's not small by any means, but it's what's realistic, Am I going to be able to constantly pull 20, 30% months? No. Is it doable 1 month of the year? More than likely. But, chances are 4, 6%, risking 1%, trading for 2 weeks. For me, that's enough, in all honesty. Regardless of the account site as well. If I'm on a 10K, I'm going to take a 6% payout, 8% payout.
That's spot on, mate. So I've got to ask you, you said earlier you were very close to giving up, and you even said now you're still £4,000 down. So I've got to ask you, Dom, why haven't you quit?
I think it's just this want and need for a better life for me and my girlfriend, for my family. There's just that more time. While I don't mind working, I think for me, I get this trapped mentality where my whole life's being lived for someone else.
Yeah.
I wake up for someone else, go to work for someone else, go to bed at a certain time for someone else. And then this, trading has given me this eye-opener of, if you focus, if you put the work in, don't be lazy, stay disciplined, you can have what you want. You can have what your boss has of that time freedom and the freedom to choose what to do with your day. And yeah, I mean, this is why I haven't quit. I mean, there's been points very, very recently. You know, the account that I got the payout on is now breached. In all honesty,
Well,
that took a hit, I must admit.
and when did you breach that, Dom?
The middle of last week, pretty much. It was about 3 days after my payout. I took a loss, took another loss, and just went on a rampage. And yeah, it hit me for 6 for a couple of days. In all honesty,
Yeah.
because I think losing a smaller account for me personally in my situation isn't such a big issue, but 100K for me is a life changer. I mean, for most people, that's a life changing account size.
Yeah.
So yeah, it did knock me a little bit, but at the same time, I look at people I can trust. You know, larger people in Mark Douglas, for example, lost everything he had, got some back, lost everything he had before he found that success. I don't want to lose everything I had. You know, I like my house. Yeah, I like a bit of money behind me. But the point is within reason, there should be a give or take of I can give this to at least attempt, like, you know, my dream in theory,
Yeah.
you know, of getting that life that I want.
No, you really want this, and I can see that. You really are hungry for this, aren't you?
100%. I mean, the thing is, there's been nothing that I've really clicked with in my life that I've gone, yeah, I really enjoy doing this. Now, I enjoy looking at candlesticks, you know? I enjoy being able to analyze economies and all of that and all the boring stuff that no one else likes. I enjoy all of that, which I think fuels this passion to keep going, keep going, keep going, because I want to make it work because I enjoy doing this every day.
No, and I do believe in you, Dom. I do think you've definitely got that ambition there and the drive to carry on and not quit this. I genuinely do. And that is why I saw that on our first interview together back last week. And now this is why I've got you on it, because I do think you've got that ambition, you've got that drive, and I can see you want it, Dom. And I got that from the first time talking to you. You know, you were very honest from the start of saying, look, I'm struggling. I'm not the best, but I'm doing all right, but I'm giving it everything I've got. And now that's all that matters in this game, mate, because if you don't quit, you can't fail. And it simply is as easy as that. Is how it is. If you don't quit, you literally can't fail. You won't fail. Dom, who would you say is one of your biggest inspirations in the space?
One of my biggest inspirations, in all honesty, I stay away from the social media side of things. Just primarily because it's so toxic for me personally. I see it as flaunting stuff that other people want, and all of that. I mean, I've taken a lot of knowledge from Mark Douglas, you know, in the risk side of things, not so much the psychology side, but understanding how much you want to risk, how much it's going to cost you to find out if your idea is right, and stuff like that. And I think a lot resonates within him with the way that he speaks about the markets. Of, I'm very much a believer of, I don't have bias. The market's going to go wherever it wants to go. A lot of people are like, no, it's going to go here, it's going to go here. And for me, I don't care where it goes. It can go up, it can go down. If my edge is in play, I'm in the markets. And I think that's the real key thing of, for me, like with Mark Douglas and leaning on his knowledge is, I've got no bias, but this is my edge. How much is it going to cost me to find out if my edge works this time? Once that's done, I'm away and I wait for the edge again, you know? And that's the bit that I struggle with the most, is it's the one thing that I've taken away probably the most out of everything. I struggle so much to live up to it, you know?
So I've got to ask you now, what has your experience been like with Alpha Capital Group so far?
Yeah, I'm going to be a bit biased here. Yeah, I do love Alpha. I think Alpha's brilliant. Primarily, you know, the Discord server, you know, it's always active. There's always moderators around if you need help. Alex gets very involved with the Discord, which is always a nice thing, because a lot of these times you see CEOs hide behind everything and you never get that connection with them. It feels like a more personal firm, you know?
Yeah.
And like I said, we had that interview for the risk side of things, and within 12 hours, I was paid my money. No issues with it at all. I had a slight issue with KYC, having to redo it. And again, I asked in the Alpha Discord, and then one of the moderators, you know, pushed it through of, can we look into this? Within the hour, it was sorted, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah, I do like Alpha. I think there's a lot going on in the space now, and Alpha's stepping up outside of the box. Ungenerically.
I've got some great news for you, Don. We have some massive plans coming ahead in the future. So keep an eye out. Alpha is doing nothing but growing at the moment. Many exciting things to come in the future. So why did you actually choose Alpha Capital Group right at the start?
Okay, so in all honesty, the reason was I had a few friends that traded with Alpha, and I was kind of just following them around different firms.
Yeah.
I was with another firm. I had a few payouts with them, and I had a few pending, and they went under. So at that point, I was then looking for the most sustainable firms. Now, we all know the top 3 to 5 in the industry. You know, personally for me, Alpha is well within that top 3. So pricing wise, discount wise, and overall, you know, friendliness and helpfulness, I chose ACG.
Well, thank you, mate. We appreciate having you on board because I'm telling you now, mate, I help you take your journey to the next step, mate, definitely. So you've already spoke about the Alpha Capital community, but I want to know what is one thing we can add to our overall platform community, whatever it is, to enhance your experience.
I think maybe for me personally, I think a lot of people come to me with questions about fundamentals. Now, in the markets, I think the hardest thing to find is a good, reliable source of fundamental analysis. Now, Alpha offers plenty and his services, you know, throughout the day.
Yeah.
The only issue with this is if you're not around at the time, you miss that out. So perhaps a corner within the Discord where, you know, clips of his live streams or
Yeah.
maybe an overall outtake of his outlook on the market and current economic predictions, that can be as a separate video within the Discord.
That's something we can definitely look at, and I don't see why it'd be too hard to add in there. Plant is very intelligent. Just done a shoot with him the other day, and I tell you now, some of the information he was telling me straight over my head. He is a very intelligent guy within this space. So yeah, he's a great guy. I want to ask you some more questions regarding your funding and your position you're in at the moment. So how much are you actually funded with us currently?
I'm actually not funded at the moment because I lost that 100K. I was funded, obviously, but yeah, currently right now, I'm not funded.
So do you have an evaluation with us?
I was about to buy an evaluation, funny enough.
Okay. What size were you going for?
100K.
100K. Okay, well, Dom, like I said, I've told you this before, we love your story, we love your drive, we love your ambition, and we just want to help you go to that next step of your journey. So, Dom, we're going to give you a 200K evaluation today, absolutely free of charge.
Thank you very much, William. I do really appreciate that, mate.
No, we want to see you go to the next step, man, and I believe in you. And I told Alex about your story, and, you know, I said, I've got this great kid for this interview. He's ambitious, he wants it, and he's got a great story to tell. And we said, let's do it. So we're going to get that to you today, mate. You're going to be 200K funded. I'm going to see that certificate come through. I know I am. But yeah, man, let's get you to the next step of your journey, man.
Thank you very much, William. It's been an eye-opener, I must admit, over the two conversations we've had. You know, from my point of view, personally, I've seen your journey from the start. You came up on my FYP page. And yeah, you know, I relate to you the same as you said to me. I can be relatable to other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do really appreciate you having me on, and obviously the free evaluation. I do really appreciate that as well. So thank you very much.
No, it's not a problem at all, mate. And I appreciate that you said before this interview, you've seen my story and you've seen where I've come from and the journey I've had to go through. Now, there's a lot of struggles in this space and a lot of things we have to go through to get to where we want to go. But I'm telling you now, these difficult times in our trading journeys are some of the most important situations you could ever be in. Because that day when that happened and you saw the video on my Puma getting kicked out and whatnot, if that didn't happen, I would not even be in this chair, let alone a trading chair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everything happens for a reason. And these struggles you're facing now are just part of the journey, mate. And everything is going to happen for a reason and it's going to start looking up. And if I can give you that 200K evaluation today and that's going to help you and that's going to be the start of your incline, then I'm doing my job and I'm happy, man, because I just want to help other people now.
But this is the other thing with ACG is I think a lot of these, the firm industry in general, everyone's like, they're out to get traders. And in all honesty, I've had nothing but good experiences with Alpha, giveaways, discounts. They want to see people succeed in this industry. And like you said, 200K evaluation is a huge, huge, huge opportunity for anyone. So yeah, really appreciate it.
Well, take your time with it. Don't rush it and definitely do not gamble it, okay? Because I'll be on your case, all right?
Yeah, perfect.
Brilliant, mate. Well, Dom, it's been absolutely amazing to have you here today. Anyone watching, feel free to leave some comments for Dom to give me a bit of advice. Dom, what is 3 top tips you'd give out to a beginner trader starting out today?
Don't follow the crowd. Main one. Don't chase your losses. Don't get in a gambling mindset because it's just a downhill spiral.
Thank you very much, Dom. That is some amazing advice. Look, we're going to get the account to you today. I wish you all the best of luck, Dom, and you have a great day.
Perfect. Thank you very much, William.
See you later, mate.
See you later on.